Hello and welcome to Deviance in Society. Today we want to talk about the body as the site of construction from society around us and what that means for people who own bodies, what that means in society and what that means in relation to deviance and, as I said, and social control. First thing we need to acknowledge is that the body is a natural thing. It is something that is there physically, it exists independently of society, so to speak. But it's the site by which we represent ourselves in society, and it's the site whereby societal, socio-cultural norms are reflected, or perhaps it's the site where they are also challenged. In which case, the body may then be seen as the site of rebellion and therefore of deviance. And if the body is the place where deviance takes place, then the body is also the place where social control needs to be exerted. As we look at the body within Australian culture and within modern society, we can see that there are different ways in which social controls are exerted over bodies. Two particular things for us to consider are consumerism and medicalisation. Consumerism, that one I'm guessing is fairly obvious to most of us. I'm just walking through a shopping arcade at the moment. There are any number of things here that I might buy. And in particular, there are things here that say that my body can be changed and can be improved, and if I want my body to adhere to social norms and cultures, then what I need to do is engage in consumerism. I need to consume the commercial products and the commercial services that are available. Here is one. Where are we? I can get my lips and lashes done. That will help me conform more to our societal norms. So there is a beauty salon. Clearly, I don't make the grade. I will have to call back here later. And the reason I'll have to call back here later is because I want to be successful in society. We have these constructed norms of masculinity and femininity and a whole range of what that might mean. But there are these constructed norms of what it means, in my case, to be a man. And so I need to make sure that I am adhering to those norms in order to be successful in society. So we have success linked to the norms, and if we are not going to adhere to the norms, then clearly we aren't very successful in the presentation of who we are or in our engagement with society around us. Now, success will be measured in lots of different ways. It might be financial success. It might be sexual prowess, or it might be some other sort of social measure. But we have this linking between the way that our bodies are presented, the social and cultural norms, the success that will arise, and the means for that to take place, which is to engage in the capitalist society and in consumerism. We also have medicalisation as one of the very strong forces in our society that influences the way that we present our bodies and the way that we view ours and the bodies of other people as well. Medicalisation is that concept that has to do with bodies being defined and diagnosed and treated as a scientific process and by medical authorities. So those who have the authority to declare what is a fit and healthy body and what is an unfit, unhealthy, and therefore deviant body are those who have some sort of medical authority behind them. Now, this has lots of implications in the way that we deal with bodies. It means that where there are bodies that are deviant, then they need to be taken to the doctor. Where there are bodies that are out of control, maybe they need to be on Ritalin. We'll get a diagnosis and a prescription for that. Where there are women who are flailing about and having babies, well, perhaps we need to prescribe that they just lie here flat on their backs and give birth that way. So there is this medicalization of the body. The body is something that is subject to medical control, medical understanding, and also medical treatment. There are big implications, as the feminists rightly point out too, in the way that the female bodies are controlled and subjugated according to medicalization. I've already alluded to the way that birthing, up until fairly recently, has taken place under the direction mostly of men, with the woman being the passive participant while the baby was listened to, diagnosed, poked, prodded. I dare say many of us are aware of things like C-sections. It's something that's really grown exponentially I've probably exaggerated a bit. It has grown as a popular way of ensuring birth. And it's something that is very much aligned with the doctor's, dare I say, their golf schedule. It's something that can be timetabled and scheduled and controlled, and the woman just has to present her body. But the evidence is that it doesn't actually result in a greater increase in health in most of the cases for either the woman or for the baby. So medicalization is something that deals with bodies and tells us what they are like and gives a scientific explanation of them and also a treatment for them. We also have medicalization serving to enforce socio-cultural norms, which are now also defined according to medical and scientific terms. The body mass index. Once upon a time, you were thin or you were fat, you were slim, you were well-built, whatever, but now we have a body mass index. And so if you are, I think it's around about 25 or so on your BMI, then you're normal. If you're outside of that, if you're above that, then you're obese. And if you're too low, then you are very much underweight, and there are controls that need to be put in place there as well. And so we have this medicalization of the way that our bodies are presented. And along with that, there comes a lot of stigma. Oh, you're too fat and you're unhealthy. So these ideas have now become conflated as well. So not conforming to the medical standard also means that you are not fit, and you are not healthy, and you are fat, and you are very unsuccessful in our society. And there'll be a whole range of social controls that will come against you. It's been shown in studies that people who are obese wait longer to be served in queues when they're going about their business. So a whole range of stigmas that are associated with this as well. Which also means there are whole lots of fixes. Cosmetic surgery. Why not go and get that deformity addressed? But then when you get the consumerism and the medicalization coming together, then maybe we define the shape of the nose so differently that it's no longer technically a medical consideration, but it's really conforming to the capitalist view and these false views of the feminine ideal. And so we need to go get the medical treatment so as to be able to address that as well. What does medicalization do in society as far as stratification goes? It does a couple of things. One is it can hide inequities, in so much as we can go and get the medical treatment, and having been treated, we've covered up what are actually the social causes behind things which may have, behind health problems that may be the result of great injustice in our society. We also have stratification in so much as the domination of women's bodies is an example of stratification there according to gendered lines. Medicalization also creates and enforces the norms, and it also changes them. As we see developments happening in medical technology, we see new developments in reproduction, So that IVF was started off as a simple technology, now increasingly complex, with the prospect of cloning on the horizon. What does that mean for our bodies? What does that mean for reproduction? And what does it mean for those who choose not to conform? Gersheim has this theory that medical technologies, they come along and they're developed and they go along slowly, and then eventually they become quite widespread. And if you don't take advantage of them, then there is something wrong with you. So medical technologies change the way we think about ourselves as well. I was at a conference a number of years ago, and there were some presentations being given on the transplant trade, on the organ trade. The speaker was from the Philippines and was talking about some of the tragedies there, where people, rich people, mostly from the West, were coming to the Philippines to poor families. And the story was, we will be able to help these people. We will pay them significantly for them to donate a kidney. So it's a win-win. The unhealthy person who needs the kidney wins, and the person who donates the kidney also wins because of their financial gain. The trouble is, the studies also showed that after a couple of years, those who had given up their kidneys had spent all their money in pain relief and trying to get medical help because of the resultant disabilities that they suffered. So again, the stratification of society coming into play and being aided by the medicalisation that we have adopted within our society. Medicalisation is something that changes the way that we think about birth, the way we think about death. You don't have bodies in your home. People die in hospitals. People who are too unwell needed to be taken out of the homes because their bodies are diseased. When there is disability, that's something that we may be able to treat with medications, or we may be able to treat with surgery or some other treatment. So this whole medicalisation is something that changes our bodies, the way that we think about them, the way that we treat them. We also have consumerism that also has a big influence on the way that we view masculine and feminine ideals, and in the way that it presents ways that we are able to come up to those ideals. I hope you enjoy thinking more about these issues and thinking about where you have internalised consumerism and medicalisation and what that might mean for you and those around you. Thank you.